Hey everyone, Squee913 here. Welcome. I'm recording this little intro because I lost part of the original footage. It didn't actually record. After the Tenkaichi Bowl, me and five of the other staff members got together and we announced the majority of the changes that are going to be implemented for Season 4. We wanted to do it while there were a bunch of people still at the stream that could ask questions about it. And I recorded it so that I could put it up on YouTube for everyone else so that you could ask questions about it and understand what's going to happen. Like I said, I lost the first 10 minutes or so, so I'm going to recap what was said during those 10 minutes. There are going to be two mandatory changes to teams. First of all, Teen Gohan is going from the Super Saiyans to the Gohans. And the Gohans are giving Adult Gohan to the Super Saiyans in return. The reasoning for this is that the Gohans need some help. They've never even been to the playoffs. It's sad because they seem like such a strong team, and they could just never quite make it, no matter what effort was poured into them. So this hopefully will balance things out a little bit. The Super Saiyans are a really powerful team, as evidenced by the fact that they are the champions, and it's. Sorry about that. I had to yawn and couldn't cut the thing off in time. It's not so much that we want to nerf them horribly, but that they can stand the balance, and Teen Gohan needs desperately to go to the Gohans themselves. Adult Gohan himself is not that weak of a character, so we're anticipating it won't be too bad of a shift. And it'll definitely help the balance of the league as a whole. The other thing that was talked about that was missed was, or that we'll be going into when I actually start the main video, is that Team Muscle is losing Sin Shenlong. A lot of people were expecting Android 13, but the truth is that Android 13 is only overpowered because of a very specific build that was created for him, which is, by the way, impressive from the team, but we'll address that later when we're sure we have everything correctly. But Omega and Sin is an incredibly overpowered character, and in the video Derangel goes over why. We did some extensive testing on him, and he is extremely powerful. So we've decided to remove him from Team Muscle. That added to the fact that he never really fit the theme well. I mean, he kind of did, but you know, you look at Omega, and he's big and bulky, but he's not really what you would call muscly. So we're replacing him with Garlic Jr., the transformed state of Garlic Jr. And that's about it. Everything else is covered in the video. There are a lot of changes, some really big ones, so you need to listen to this. There is a thread on the forum created for questions, because the comment section on YouTube is really small. So if you do have big questions, of course you can answer them here. I'll be keeping track of it. But if you have a question, the best thing to do is to go to the forums. Go to the top of Dragon Ball Z League section. In the news and announcements, there is a forum for you to ask questions. So, enjoy.
Alright. His trap shooter is obviously not very powerful, but in base without any bonuses, Blazing Storm does 10,000. Or 12 in max power, and his ultimate does 16,000. As Omega, Dragon Thunder is 10,000, 12 in max, and that moves. It's only a 3-bar move, so it's a 10,000 3-bar move, whereas ultimate's 17. But with what'd you do? Oh, Indignation with 2 bars lost. He's at Blazing Storm for 12,000, 15 in max, and Galactic Blaze at 21, and Omega, Dragon Thunder at 12, and Minus Energy at 22. And his melee is also incredibly powerful.
Yeah.
Dealing far better than even like Krillin with all his stats maxed out.
Yeah, Omega's base melee damage was doing more than my Krillin with melee +2, attack +2.
2,800.
Yeah,
his combo.
His defense is also increased. He's got like a +1 defense. So basically, he has a +1 defense, a +2 at least melee. When he goes into max power mode, he has 1, 2, 3, 4 moves that are all as strong as an ultimate. And that's 2 ultimates and 2 B1s or B2s that in max power mode are like 12,000. You slap on Indignation on that, and in his last couple bars of health, his B2 moves will do 14 to 15,000 points of damage. Yeah. That is excessive. He is one of the strongest characters I've ever seen once I did the testing. So he's being removed from Team Muscle. They're going to take Garlic Jr. in his stead. Garlic Jr.
In his big form, right?
Yeah, in his big form. He'll start off in his big form. Like we let them do in season, what was it, 1, 2?
2.
Season 2. King Viper, it's not a matter of if he was an underperformed person or not. And to say that Sin was underperformed is to ignore half the fights where he absolutely destroyed people.
I'd like to point out Muscle vs. Blades, where Sin took out 2 players by himself.
And I know, like, Ivory was saying the same thing, too, that Sin was underperforming and whatnot. Sin was outstanding this league compared to an average player. And your other option is to lose 13. That's your other option, and I'm pretty sure you don't want that one. And plus, there's another reason for that as well. Sin fits the team the least. He's big and he's bulky, but he's not really muscly per se. You know, Team Muscle, you picture, you know, big, strapping chests, and Broly and Android 13 and Garlic Jr. That's what you picture. You don't picture kind of big with horns. So for a lot of reasons, we're removing Sin, but we're removing him from the league, not just from Team Muscle. No one can use Sin.
I want to make a quick point. It's not really how character performed during the league. It's based on all of the number data, and if he does really well, like, not even like, you know, he misses. If he hits all of his moves and he does them a lot, it'll do a lot of damage, more so than anybody else. And in general, overall, that's unfair and imbalanced. So that's that's one of the reasons why we're getting rid of him. His defense, while that's not a huge thing, is higher than anybody else's in the entire game. It's just his base defense. So that's a factor into it too, so people can't do as much damage to him. So, you know, since he doesn't fit very much and he's overpowered, and you saw what he could do in very, like, clutch situations, he can just pull power out of his butt, essentially, and throw it at people. And, you know, I don't think you're losing anything amazing by losing Sin. And you're getting Garlic Jr. back, who's not bad. Garlic Jr.'s hardly bad at all. Garlic
has some really good moves in his transformed state.
And he's got an amazing B1.
Yes, he does.
Yeah.
Best B1 in the game.
So you're keeping 13. Now, we are going to put slight restrictions on 13 as far as his key charge rate. We're not announcing those yet because we're still in talks as to if this is something they're going to 13 or going to all androids or whatnot. We need to really hammer that out before we announce something for good. But 13 is going to have slight restrictions on how fast he charges his key, because 13 has especially when transformed, the amazing SS Deadly Bomber, which is a really powerful move that's almost impossible to dodge because it tracks. And when you put key regeneration on him, he can throw it out like every 6 seconds.
And King Viper seems to agree. So.
Yeah, but we, like I said, we're not announcing that yet because we haven't done all the details. So that's all the force changes. Now, hang on, let me see what else we got here before I get into the big tamale.
Yeah, and I'll just address what Kang said. I kind of personally fought for 13 to stay because I thought he fit the team better, and it's also the fact that if we kind of mitigate how fast 13 can charge his key, since he can't active charge like Sin can, there's not a lot of chance for him to be overwhelmingly powerful all the time. Sure, he's still going to be good, but then he's going to have some limits on what he can do. He won't be able to, like, drag and dash everywhere and dodge everything and still fire out B2s like a monster, considering he just kind of passively regenerates ki. So I think it's more fair to do that.
Yeah, and I mean, I like 13, and like I said, if anyone fits Team Muscle's theme, good God, it's freaking alternate costume Blanca. Okay.
SS Bomber was kind of discussed, but with these restrictions, he won't be able to spam it like he does now, meaning it will be a bit more reasonable.
It's also worthy to note that you all saw it. It can clash, so
yes, it can. Oh, that was awesome.
That was great.
Let's focus on the task at
Okay.
Boys.
The next one we've got two more for you. One I'm saving one for the end because it's going to take some explaining. But season 4 is going to be moving to a 15-week season instead of a 12-week season. There's several reasons for this as well. A lot of it has to do with the final change we're making, but I'll go with the other details first. Did season 3 seem short to anyone else? It's like it blew by.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And honestly, there's several advantages to having a 15-week season. First of all, each team will play every other team in the league at least once, or exactly once. Since there's 16 teams, you'll play every team once. That includes the teams in your division, which some people were unsure about. But the truth is, it's kind of, I like it because you are competing against the teams in your division. And that means that 3 of your matches will be really important because whether you win or lose is almost like double the importance. Because if you lose, they win. If you win, they lose. And it allows you to fight every team during the season. Plus, it'll also, like I said, increasing the length of the season will also help your win-loss records. It'll help us to referate things a little bit more, because 12 weeks, a loss record including 12 games, and a loss record including 15 games, you have more time to catch up, you have more time to pull ahead, you have more time to do everything.
Yeah, the main thing the divisions will be for then is competing with your win-loss records.
Exactly.
So, obviously the top-tier teams from this season will still be in the same division, so their win-loss records have to compete, which also happens to include my team, yay.
Right. So divisions will still be, like you said, still be very important because it still works exactly the way we intended it, which is, and I think it worked rather well this season. We stick the worst teams together and the best teams together so that they're competing against each other. A perfect example is the Blades never would have gotten to the playoffs because they had a worse win-loss record than my team did. But because we grouped them in South Kai, they still had a chance to go, not just go, but I'm sorry, no, you were tied with us. I'm talking about Namix and
No, I was right below you.
Oh,
I was one below you.
Right. So basically, it helps because South Kai teams probably wouldn't have made it at all, and without that, we wouldn't have had the amazing matches between Namek and Dragon Ball Warriors.
Dragon Ball Warriors,
But those will still participate and still be completely valid. Because you'll still be competing against each other. Okay, so on to the big change, and we talked about this a lot. We even opened it up to the public for people had trouble staying on topic, but to see what everyone felt about it, and we've decided to go ahead and try this for Season 4. Now, I want to stress before we start, this is going to be tried for Season 4. If it does not work for whatever reason, we'll scrap it. We have no objections doing that. Season 4 is going to have, every team is going to be getting a 5th member, and we're going to be going on rotation. It's a lot simpler than it sounds when I say it, but basically what's going to happen is every team will have 5 players. Every week, 4 of those 5 players will be competing in the match. And each week you will choose, as the coach or the team, who rotates when. This will also comes into play with now having the 15-week season. Because it's a 15-week season, every player on the team will rotate out 3 times. Now, there are reasons for this, but first let me go into this. It's possible. This was the biggest problem we had with people on the forums. We told you, before we even went to the public, we had figured this out. It is absolutely possible. Every single team can have 5 players. I'll go over a few of the trouble teams that people are going to have questions for, like the Boos. The Boos get Oob. We put no transformations or Broly's ring on Oob, and then there's no problem. Oob goes to the Boos, Majin Oob stays with the Majins. Some people were saying that they didn't know if Oob fit the Boos, but Oob is Boo. Boo is Oob.
Yeah.
It's the reincarnation, so there's no problem.
His name is Boo backwards,
Yeah.
literally.
Muscle gets Master Roshi transformed.
Yep.
I like Christopher Roshi, just the way he looks.
Master Roshi transformed is not the most fantastic character in the world, but he's not the worst one either. You saw what he did, some weeks. And like I said, they start him off in transformed state. So
Well, also, Muscle's a good team.
Yes.
Muscle's a very
Yeah,
good
they don't
team.
need.
So you could make a build. You could figure out a build to make him great. Make that old man work.
The Gohans might be another one that people are asking because there's only a certain number of Gohans. The way the Gohans are going to work is the Super Saiyans will have adult Gohan. The Gohans are going to have Saiyaman. Two completely different characters, even though it's considered just a transformation of adult Gohan. Adult Gohan never, in all the years I've ever used him, transforms into Saiyaman. Every once in a while, Saiyaman will revert back down to adult Gohan, but none of us, we don't really see a big problem with that. Grandpa Gohan, I don't really think, for two things about that. I don't really think it fits the theme too much because Teen Gohan is about the Gohan, not another man named Gohan. And we're trying to help Team Gohan, not hurt them.
Not make it worse.
Yeah.
And Gohan is not a good character.
And Saiyaman. Now, we'll give them the option if they really want Grandpa Gohan over Saiyaman. I don't see a reason why they couldn't take him. I mean, I think everyone's in agreement here with that, right?
Yeah, but that'd be crazy.
Yeah.
Yes.
I don't know why they would do that, but if they wanted to, sure. But no, we'll let them have Saiyaman, which I love Saiyaman. I'm so sad he wasn't in the, he was replaced. But and the way we look at it is, every once in a while, if he reverts into adult Gohan, no biggie. And I've never seen adult Gohan transform into Saiyaman, so no problems there. What other teams are possible? We may have to explain.
Cold.
Oh yes, Cold.
Cold and Super Saiyans.
Cold. Well, Super Saiyans not Super Saiyans aren't a problem. They just get mid-level Vegeta back.
Yeah, I'm just letting everybody know. It's something that they could have a question about.
Team Cold most likely will be getting Rebel's going to be taking Metacooler back. Now, before people start complaining, Metacooler was never overpowered. Metacooler was taken off of Team Cold because we felt the team as a whole was too strong. Not that we felt Metacooler himself was too strong. Metacooler has a healing B1, and he's an android that charges, and he has a really great ultimate. That wasn't the problem. The problem was Team Cold having 3 people that could spam Supernova. That was the problem.
Yeah.
And the 5-player rotation fixes all that. Well, 2 things fix this.
2 saviors.
Right. You were limited to two Protaras per team, so only 2 members on the team at any one time can have Savior. And the fact that they're going to be rotating means that there'll only be 6 weeks the entire season where you'll have 3 people on that team that can throw Supernovas. So, because every single one of them will be rotating out almost every week. So we have no problems giving them back Metacooler because those 2 new regulations will help avoid the problem we had in the first place.
Right. And we're asking in the chat about the Valkyries. The Valkyries will be taking back Zengaya.
Which means that Gamer Junkie, you and I are going to be fighting over Pan because Earth Defenders want Pan.
Loser gets Chaozu.
No, there's tons of other options other than just Chaozu.
I'll get to Blades in a second, FCD.
Yeah, but we want Pan, and I know you guys probably want Pan, so we might be taking that to. We might be taking that to the arena. Unless you don't want Pan, hey, by all means, you know, I'm a pacifist if you are.
Yes, Nappa will be going to the Saiyans.
Yes, Nappa will be going to the Saiyans. The Saiyans, oh my gosh, no idea what happened to the Saiyans. Like, I don't even think it was the fact that they lost Nappa, because Nappa didn't do a whole lot last season. No. But I don't think anyone can complain about them taking Nappa back.
Nah.
Yeah.
I would.
Ginyu will get Goldo. There's lots of teams out there that have lots of choices, actually, as to who they can take.
And to clear it up, Blades will be dropping Yajirobe, and we'll be taking both Taos.
Yeah, Tao and Cyborg Tao. Also, Yajirobe, he qualifies for Team Derp or Dragon Ball Warriors, and we're seriously considering that if either team wants Yajirobe, lifting his sanctions. Meaning Yajirobe, as it stands right now, is not allowed to have a B1-centric move because of Sensu Bean. However, if he ends up going to 2 of the worst teams in the league, dropping those sanctions might actually give those teams a fighting chance. The idea of Yajirobe, because I mean, let's face it, guys. Even if Yajirobe did Sensu Bean every other match, I still don't think those teams would be slamming into the top of their division because of that. Now, I'm not saying that Dragon Ball Warriors or Derp will never be at the top of their division, but it's not going to be because of a Sensu Bean.
Then don't forget androids.
Androids.
Yeah, they pretty much have to take 8.
Yeah, androids are going to be taking 8, which is, from all the testing that we've seen, he's not a horrible character. A lot of here's some of the interesting things is that a lot of the good teams are going to be taking worse characters, and a lot of the worst teams are going to be taking characters that are as good or better than what they have now. For example, Team Namek, they could take Tambourine, which
Or King Piccolo.
oh my god, well King Piccolo they still have reservations about, but Tambourine in the minor leagues was outstanding.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I would also like to point out for the Nameks that considering how Slug performs this season, you may want to look at getting rid of him for like King Piccolo, because you have options. You can switch out anybody you want for the options that you got. I would seriously consider your team.
And in case anyone's wondering, Tambourine is actually even listed on the wiki as a mutated Namek. He is actually born from King Piccolo, so he counts.
And he is amazing.
Yeah, he is.
yeah.
I don't think there's any other. I don't think there's any other teams that have like questionable who would go to what team.
Just for the sake of covering everything, because I think we've actually mentioned every team now except mine. I'm getting Bobbity, obviously. So
yeah, taking Bobbity back.
No.
Don't you
And
love
there's
that?
the question of whether or not a Cyberman would fit on the Rugrats.
I think we said no a couple times on that one.
You know what? What?
I think we said no a couple times on that one. It's been brought up, haven't you?
Yeah, I did. I'm wondering if I should go back on that a little bit, because the thing about Rugrats is they're kind of children, and the Cybermen are grown. I mean, in the series, the Cybermen that they fought. Well, what I'm saying is like the Cybermen they fought in the show were like an hour old, if that. So if Cell Juniors count as kids, I kind of am starting to think that Cybermen also would be counted as kids.
I would actually. Go ahead, Sparta.
I was going to say, I just want to advise you carefully on the Rugrats to probably not take Cybermen in general, because their ultimates are something that is a move that damages them, and they're not nearly as strong as a...
No, Sparta, if they want to take the Cybermen and leave Pan alone,
advising.
I am all for that. I think the Cybermen are fantastic characers. I think that they're...
I love Cybermen.
Yeah, they will give you the world.
I was gonna say,
let's say this. Let's say for now, you can go ahead and test putting in Cybermen. If we find that there's something wrong with it, we might talk to you about it later. But for now, let's say that's a tentative yes.
Yeah,
they did well during the minor.
Yeah,
so
they did.
I was gonna say, for teams like Rugrats or Derp, Dragon Ball Warriors, whatever, teams that have multiple options, test all those options.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
and you're going to have at least 3 months in the off season to do so. Yep. So, and that brings up a good point. Some people have asked, what about the minor leagues? How is this going to affect them? It's not going to affect them at all. There's absolutely no rule saying that we can't have someone in the majors and minors at the same time.
Minors will be going on during the off season, so it doesn't matter anyway.
Right, and basically the rule will generally be, Durangel and I were talking about it. Anyone who's not in the majors will automatically be in the minors, and the minors will try and take the less common ones even in the majors. Basically.
We'll figure it out. Yeah.
Okay, a couple of things I want to address, because this is not a complex... it's not complicated, but it does change a lot on how we look at the league, and there are some issues we want to make sure we absolutely cover.
Sweet, real quick before I forget.
Yes.
HGK Rebel have been talking about testing. Now, for all you teams that have, you as well, Squeak, for all the teams that have multiple options, we are going to allow you to do full team tests with AIs. Only 2, and 1 round each. But it'll let you see how your characters will fit into the team. So I suggest you take advantage of that. And all 3 of us are going to be doing running tests. So,
for the sake of clarity, since they're going to be 5-man teams, is it going to be a 5-man team test, or is it just going to be 4?
If they want to do 5, they can do 5. If they want to do 4, they can do 4.
Yeah, it's up to them. Okay. We'll also be having at least 1 problem child test available to every team during the off-season. And every team during the off-season, if you want to test a person, you can test that person on full build. That's fine. Yep. We'll also, like I said, at some point we'll offer the problem child test, which is basically just I won't go into the details, but it's a very thorough examination of a character.
And just remember, teams who are testing out new characters for testing out new characters will always have priority in tests.
Yes. So if you're testing someone that you've never used before, you have priority over, say, me just testing out TN or something.
Exactly.
And what else was I going to say? Oh, okay. I was going to go into some of the issues that may have come up that we're going to address. Balance issues. It has been suggested that the 5-player rotation might cause balance issues because, like, the stronger teams can afford to rotate people out better than the weaker teams can. But the more common way to look at it, and the way I look at it, and the way that people seem to agree with me when I explain it, is it will actually help balance the league instead of imbalance it. Because let's say your team Super Saiyan, because they're the champions, let's go with them. Your team Super Saiyan, you're about to fight Team Derp, who has a horrible record. You are going to take that opportunity to rest your best player because you have the best chance of winning without your best player. That very fact, in and of itself, gives Team Derp a better chance of winning because they're not facing your best player. So logic would dictate that this 5-player rotation will actually help the smaller teams or lower ranked teams to win more. Now, will it work in practice? There's no way to know without trying, but like I said, logic would dictate that it will actually kind of help balance things out a little bit. The reason why we implemented this is because we wanted to add a little bit more overreaching strategy into your team building. As it stands right now, you don't worry about anything other than the week that's coming up. I mean, why would you? What's the point? All that matters is the next week, because after that match, you can change your entire build if you need to for the week after that. So all you concentrate on is the next match. This rotation will actually force you to consider the entire season, who you're fighting, when you're fighting them, and who do you want to rotate when. Because you can only rotate someone 3 times, and they cannot be rotated back to back. So you have to make a schedule of who you want rotated when. You have to sit back and think about, okay, when am I fighting the strong teams? I want to make sure I rotate things in such a way that I have the players I want to have when I face these teams. It'll force you to look at your team and go, okay, I'm fighting, say, a spam team next week. So who on my team is best to compete against them, and who do I want to rotate to take into account of that? You also will have to worry about Potara builds. Because, if this person, let's say Krillin's rotated out next week, and I have, whatever my 5th player is, well, how can I help compensate her to fill the position that Krillin is vacating? That kind of thing. It adds a lot more overreaching strategy into how you build a team without adding a whole lot of time to it. Because the actual process of doing it is only a couple minutes of, okay, who do I want to rotate out when? But it forces you to think strategically about the entire season, and it helps to take the random element of the league away just a little bit, because there's always going to be that random element. But it helps to put more of I won because I was prepared, and less I won because the league was random.
Mm-hmm. And also, I just want to add that I was one of the people early on who had a problem with it. I am very willing to try it because it could be interesting. And if it works the way he wants it to, it'll be amazing. Absolutely amazing. But if for whatever reason a lot of people agree that there's balance issues and it's just not working, we will get rid of it after the season. Mm-hmm. It's just something that will, if it works, even half as well as we want it to, then it's something that'll make team captains participate, think, and strategize and plan on things that are farther in the future than just next week. So we all talked about it, and we all agree that it's very much worth a shot. And since somebody brought it up, and we're recording this as a whole thing, yes, when we get to the playoffs and the finals, all 5 people on your team will be fighting, but the Potara rules still are in effect. So once you actually get the 5 people in there, you have to remember that you can only use the same yellow Potara on 2 people on your team, and that's it. And the blue ones, unless we change something for whatever reason, although I don't think we will, you can only use the 4 that we have right now, so one person won't be able to use a blue one in your 5-player team. So you got to think about that too.
Yes.
It's just a note.
So, is the chat frozen for anyone, or is it just because
No,
the
it's
last
fine.
thing I have is from Huzzah?
It's fine.
Oh,
No,
it's still moving for me.
Okay,
Still
my
working
chat.
for me.
My chat did not. My chat. No, bad chat.
Are we making changes to... Oh yeah, we're making some minor changes to 7-pointers, but I don't think we've finalized that yet.
No,
Yeah.
we haven't. We're still trying to figure out what exactly we're going to be
All right.
doing about the.
So then for
7-pointers.
the meantime, then any build test will be 5 points then for testing.
Right.
Since we don't know who's gonna be 7-pointers, we'll say everything's gonna be 5-pointer until we decide what we're doing with 7-pointers.
Yeah,
we
7-pointers
will
are nice. But...
we will tell you guys some of the things we're considering. We're wondering, basically what we're wondering is we're trying to figure out if we have everyone keep all the same 7-pointers, if we get all new 7-pointers, if we give people the option, etc., etc., etc.
Yep.
We're just not sure yet on exactly what we want to do with that. So trying to see if there's any questions about the 5-player rotation, because that's the big one. We may have new things added throughout the offseason. Like, for example, when we come to the determination of the key charges on androids, we'll be announcing that.
Yep.
There might be other changes as well, but like I
yeah,
said...
but those are all relatively minor
Mhm.
in comparison.
Yeah.
So it's mostly just tweaking of like charge rates and stuff and what to do about some 7-pointers and who may or may not be eligible to be them on a team due to power ratios and things like that. It's a long discussion and we still have things to hammer out about.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Also, one thing I should point out is, because this was brought up, when we do the rotations, some people have suggested like how to fix the idea of, let's say I forget to post a certain week, and if I forget to post a certain week, is that going to screw up my rotations for everyone? What we're going to do is every coach at the beginning of the season, we're going to release who you're fighting when early, at least a month before the season starts, probably sooner than that. And what each coach will do is make a schedule for the whole season of who they want to rotate, and post that somewhere. And you're free to change that schedule at any time. Like, let's say you thought Team Cold was going to be a really powerful team, but halfway through the season they end up sucking, so you want to change your schedule to rotate differently. You're all fine and good. You can do that. But having that schedule will tell us, if you forget to post this week, who we want to rotate out. Therefore, it doesn't screw up your rotation order. Hoping that sounds as simple as it's supposed to. But other than that, that's pretty much it. Those are all our big changes for the season as of right now. In fact, those will be all the big ones. We might have, like Sparta said, a few trickling out here and there, but...
Okay, and I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and in Dragon Ball Z News and Announcements, I'm going to make a question thread for this video, and when this video comes out, I'm going to link it there. So if you have any specific questions about things in the video, you can post them there, and we'll try and answer them as fast as we can. And I would encourage everyone to just kind of stick to the topics on hand and not talk about balance, because we do all care about balance. We're doing our best and we're trying not to imbalance the league in an unfair way, obviously. We all care about it, we all want to do well, we all want it to work out. And so if you have any questions about how the rotation works, about the changes to team members, about, things of that nature, then please post in the thread. I'll go ahead and make it right after this. Just so, we can try to get everybody on the same page so you actually understand what's going on ahead of time. And I don't know about all of you, but is that list that I've made so far the current rules that we have for the league? Is that all of them? Are there any more that need to be added?
I don't think so. Hang on, I'm going to address a few things in the chat. First of all, Classic Gamer, the Super Saiyans are the Dragon Ball Z League champions of Season 3. I don't think that you can say Teen Gohan's the only consistently good character on that team.
Yeah.
No.
I don't think losing Teen Gohan for Adult Gohan is going to destroy them.
No.
Gamer Junkie, you asked what about Master Roshi's training? What exactly about Master Roshi's training are you questioning?
Yeah.
I was going to bed.
Oh, okay. I guess maybe he was asking
I
because
think they're asking if we could use it, which I said no.
Well, no, like it's not going to be added for everyone to use, but for the people who need it, there's no restriction placed upon them or anything. It's if you need it to get the regular health. No, you can't use it as an additional Patara. The matches are long enough as they are, without adding. See, here's
but they are faster now that the frame rate has gone up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But still, it's
basically the thing is that we like to keep you to Dinde's healing, because that one could potentially give you an extra bar of health, but it all depends on how well your player does. We don't like the idea of you spending 2 points so you get a whole extra bar. One of the things we are mulling in our heads certain Patara changes that we may or may not implement, but these are things that have to be thoroughly tested before we say a yay or nay on them. So yeah. Anyone else?
I think that's
Teen
Doesn't
Gohan,
look like it.
Teen Gohan was the only consistently great person on the team. Look, even if Teen Gohan was the only one that was consistently great week in and week out, they had the second highest win record in the entire league, and they are the champions. So you know what?
Solely because of Teen Gohan.
even if some weeks this character was bad and other weeks this character was good, every single week they had enough good characters to win the league. So again, I have no sympathy for.
I also want to point out very clearly that I'm pretty sure HJK is the leader of the team, and he's on the staff.
It's Himmel.
Well, it's Himmel. Yeah. Well, still.
But Himmel's been kept
HJK
informed.
Is on the staff. Yeah, he's been kept informed. I would imagine HJK would do that anyway. But HJK is on the staff, and we've talked about it, and he agrees that they, obviously they're losing something with Teen Gohan because he's very good, but they're not losing anything significant. They don't think it's going to hurt their team in any really severely negative way. They'll still be a good team, trust me. With the Super Saiyan characters they have, they'll be good.
Neo Lone Wolf is asking if Super Buu is allowed to change forms. I don't know.
We'll figure it out.
Yeah, we'll get into that.
We'll do some testing.
Honestly, I'm not sure how much of a boost the Boos need. They are already an incredibly powerful team.
I would very tentatively say that if you wanted to do this, then it might be okay. And I'm kind of going off my own on this. But if you want to start him as base Super Buu, who's not that great, and have the hope that he might transform, then that would probably be okay. Again,
I think I'd be okay with that, but I think I'd be against him just starting off as Gotenks Buu.
Yeah.
Gohan Buu is obviously very good. So,
but if they want to start base Super Buu, I think it's a good idea.
Yeah, I think we could all be in agreement that if you want to start him as Super Buu, that's fine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. See, I can think of things myself. But yeah, if there's any more questions, then go ahead. We're good.
Yeah. Go ahead, ask away. I'm probably once this is I'll stop recording now, and then if you guys just have any more questions, go ahead and ask.
Yeah,